speak out. We're muted. Gakin?
David Gakin.
There he is.
Here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Are we good to go? Okay. All right. This evening, we do have a guest speaker. We have Dan Bullholt here to talk about the Enchanted Valley Chalet. So Dan, come on up to the podium. His brief presentation, and he sent me some pictures in advance that I can put up on the screen share on the TV. So welcome, Dan.
Good evening, and thanks for considering our resolution to oppose the national park from destroying Enchanted Valley Chalet. It's been there for about 90 years, and we want to stay there forever. So they've gone through a lengthy public process and ignored pretty much everybody's wish to keep it there. So now they're in what we call a 106 process. They determine what the issue is, and that's all that's being considered. So right now, the park is only considering either removing the chalet or burning it down. No other things are being considered. So we've been urging them to stop this process, go back to a public process, and there's lots of opportunities. And so our coalition is called the Public Access Coalition. We formed to try to keep public access and enhance it like we can. I'm their spokesperson. We got members from all around the peninsula. And when we heard they were going to try and destroy the chalet, we decided this was an important issue. And so there used to be a group called Save the Chalet that helped save it back in 2014. And that allowed a mover to come in and he slid the chalet 100 feet away from the running riverbank. That's been a big issue, is the Canal River has been moving around in there's a big valley, a lot of waterfalls, a lot of water flow. And so he got the park to allow him to move it 100 feet. While the river chased the chalet, now you can see the pictures, it's really close to the edge again. But the river never got close to it this year. The river's actually moved back to where it was originally. You can see by all the greenery, the riverbank starting to heal itself. So we've got some time to figure out a solution. But the park's not just hurry up. We got to come up with get it out of there or burn it down. They've been on this mission for quite a while. And so we're trying to rally everybody to oppose the park's current agenda. And so we put out calls to different people, all of the relatives of the people that built it have contacted us. They sent us photos of the history and the family that built it. So the park is basing their decision on two words, historic and culturally significant. So if you look back on the chalet, it was built prior to the park, go back to 29, 30, 31. The park was formed in 1938. So it has a long history. It used to be used to bring tourists in from the Seattle area and go in on mules and horses. So it's been there a long time. Everybody knows the Enchanted Valley Chalet is part of the park. And documents have been uncovered when the park was being formed back in 38. It's officially written down that the park and the Enchanted Valley Chalet together were what caused the park to be formed. They're an integral part of the park, and so those documents have been uncovered. It is on the historical register, so the state has a key role in this. Their officer is part of this discussion, and she's adamant that this will not be destroyed. So you've got a lot of entities here fighting over the jurisdiction. There's also a document signed by the governor of Washington in 1980. The park wanted to make all of their land, almost 1 million acres, 97% of the wilderness. In order to do that, they have to get the state's agreement. So a document was signed by the governor guaranteeing public access and the chalet would stay in place. That's another signed document. And the park seems to be. So there's quite a battle here over what documents, who's going to do what. And I'm pretty confident that the park's going to back down this year on destroying it. everybody who's lived here their whole life, like I have, remember when the park came in, burned down Camp Kiwanis. And so there's always a potential. There's stories of a team that went out there to burn the chalet, and if theirs got wet, it looked like. So maybe it's meant to be. Also, back in 2013, when the river did go over there, the chalet was hanging over the edge of the bank. The builders of it used such quality material, they actually built triangle foundations. One of those foundations fell into the river and diverted the water away from the chalet. So it's got kind of a life of its own. And so we're trying to get everything we can to oppose the chalet doing it. That's why I'm here tonight, to see if the city council will pass a resolution to oppose. The county commissioners did yesterday. Grace Harbor Republican Party has, so we're working our way around the fence. Got any questions?
Yeah, I'll just add, Councilmember Ellis asked me if there's a resolution to consider, and Dan has sent me the wording for it. And my thought was to put it in an official document and have council consider it at the next meeting. So tonight is informative about what's going on with the chalet. Next council meeting will be a decision point to support.
We have a lot of requests from people knowing this is a complicated issue. I throw something together, so rather than just bullet points, I went ahead and drew up a resolution. You can pick or choose. The county did the same thing. The size did came up with one they liked. Jefferson County commissioners are working on one. So when you go to argue before they go, like the parks and the Forest Service resolutions really stick out to them. So we appreciate any considerations. If you want a little history, I forgot, but the Senior Sunset Times asked me to write an article about the chalet, doing it from historical, and it was in the July one, and I have it electronically if anybody would like a copy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. All right, next up is department head updates. Do we have any updates from any of our department heads tonight? Director Scott? Hello.
Thank you, City Council.
I don't seem like it's on.
It's on here.
It shows it's on. Is there something over there that,
Try it again.
Hello?
Yeah.
There's no green light to it.
is
I'll
there?
just talk really loud about that.
I
So
don't even
recently, we had
know
a
how to
couple
work
of requests for proposals that we put out for real estate services as well as the zoning code. We did not get any takers for real estate services, so we'll be coming back to the table in terms of redeveloping something for that. And then the second was the zoning code, and we do have a successful applicant, and we'll be looking to bring that forward at the next city council meeting, so that is exciting. We're on our way to getting that done. And we have the homeless committee meeting coming up next week, as well as our real estate services meeting, and budget time's coming up, so we're all excited for that. And then I also wanted to remind you that we're doing a workshop next Wednesday at 6 o'clock, and we're gonna be walking council through the abatement process, and we'll have a great PowerPoint presentation and hopefully some really good question and answers from council and staff regarding that. But I think it's really important to walk through what it looks like to go through an abatement and how a simple fire that gets put out can ruin our abatement budget for the rest of the year and why things don't get done. So it'll be interesting, I think, and really eye-opening, I hope, and I'm looking forward to that. So thank you.
Thank you.
I see Director Barnum coming, and while you're coming up here, can I just ask Councilmember Gaken, can you hear what's going on at the podium?
Very clearly, yes.
Okay, thanks.
How's that? Is it working now?
No.
Let's start the power. For sure, my screen.
wanted to remind everyone, if you don't know, we have the Parks and Recreation survey is available now. It's on our website at aberdeenwa.gov. It's available as an online survey through SurveyMonkey, and it's also available as a Word document that's fillable. So whatever your preference is, there's 2 options. The survey is important. We need input from we use that information for our Parks and Recreation comp plan, to develop our goals and our priorities, and when we talk about park remodels and what is necessary and what is needed in the community. So it is important that people fill out the survey. Also want to let everyone know that we're accepting the 2023 lodging tax grant applications. Those are also available online on aberdeenwa.gov. The deadline to turn in an application is October 19th. You do need to be a nonprofit or a government agency. And Rick's not here, but I did want to say that my mom called me to let me know. She said, I drove into Aberdeen and I drove through the circle, which I understood is the new roundabout. And she said that she liked it and that she thought it was much safer than how the intersection was before. So I just wanted to share that. That's it, thank you.
Thanks, Director Barnum. Any other updates? Seeing none, I will move on to the mayor's report.
Thank you. Monday, I attended a think tank meeting at the health department to discuss a cold weather shelter for this coming winter. And it was a pretty good meeting, good turnout. It was productive. They're still trying to figure out how they're going to do it, where they're going to do it. And I think it was made pretty clearly, please leave Aberdeen out this year of for the location. It's all the fun we had last year. But regardless if it's in Aberdeen or Hoquiam or wherever, it is a needy item. And so I've been working with Commissioner Pine pretty regularly to try to find some kind of solution for that issue. I also attended the CAP board meeting, and the board approved CAP to go after a new grant that just came in for 3 more fourplexes for low-income housing. So that'll make, what was it? That'll make like 38 units, I believe CAP is proposing to build. They're working towards building. They have 3 locations in Southside, a location in Hoquiam, and this new grant will be for Elma and Westport. Tuesday, I attended transit board meeting. The permits are just about all in now, and they'll start demoing the building downtown here at the where the bus depot is. Well, they won't start. You've probably seen them working on it already, but to actually get in there and knock it down. And I also attended the mission board meeting, and the Rowells, who have been directors of the mission for 35 years, are retiring. So now I'm involved with applications for hiring a new director at the mission. What else? I would just share that I like these kinds of graphs and things. At this is from the transit board, and this shows the sales tax going back to 2019. And this black line up here at the top is now 2023. And for those of you out there that can't see it, we're up on sales tax, which is makes me very happy. Lastly, I wanted to say that non-emergency 911 call usage. We are still encouraging people to not call 911 for non-emergency service requests. That could be handled by the record specialists between 8 a.m. 4 p.m. Citizens can report crimes online if they are able to do that. And that's at www.aberdeenwa.gov and scroll to Police Department Online Reporting. There's a non-emergency number. I think most everyone knows it, 360-533-8765. The reason for this, so that you all know, we're struggling at 911 headquarters right now for staffing. As I'm sure everybody's aware, there's a lot of businesses out there and organizations that are struggling for staffing, and 911 is one of them. And even as we progress and interview and bring in new applicants, we're struggling to have the personnel available to train them because they're so busy working the system, they're not able to have the proper time to even train. So it's just going through a real difficult time. We're doing everything we can to try to find solutions. So one great way to help them out is to make sure if you have an emergency, be sure and call, but if it's really not an emergency, use the other system. We've had calls because ducks were leaving their evidence on the deck and calling 911 over that. I know that sounds funny, and I admit it to sound funny, but it's not funny for 911. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Mayor Shave. How about our council members? Are there any non-standing committee reports tonight? Ralph?
Yes, along with the mayor, I was also at the Quinault Wellness Center opening, and we got a tour of their facility, and what an amazing place that is, and I look forward to it starting up in October. And then Councilmember Buratini and I were also at the Grays Harbor Public Health Think Tank. I was astonished to learn from Commissioner Pine that there were no responses to their RFP for a cold weather shelter in Aberdeen. And as well, no responses for administering the hotel motel voucher. So that's a real concern. But it sounds like the county council members are going to consider putting these RFPs back out, and we'll be learning more about that. And then I too was at the roundabout opening today and drove around and waved at people. I come off the bridge and take that angle going up F Street to get home, and it's just so welcome to have that open again and to have a proper stoplight functioning. So thanks to all who made it happen.
Other updates, yes.
I did attend the Aberdeen Museum Board meeting last week, and we'll have some things coming to council next meeting for approval.
Any other updates from council members? Seeing none, I'll adjourn the committee of the whole and hand it over to the mayor.
Thank you. This is Mayor Shave. It's Wednesday, September 14th, 2022 at 8:36 p.m. I call the Aberdeen City Council meeting to order. Roll call vote, please.
7:30.
Or 7:30? Oh, I was looking at the 8. So it's 8:30. Just kidding.
Long committee of the whole.
Alice?
Here. Here.
Francie,
Here.
Gaken,
Here.
Catchman,
Here.
Lawrence,
Here.
Mackey, Morrison,
Here.
Caricini,
Here.
Ross,
Here.
Shaw,
Here.
Taylor,
Here.
Shay.
Here.
Thank you.
Mayor Schaefer? Just to acknowledge that Councilmember Gaken is joining us via Zoom this evening, and I would make a motion to excuse Councilmember Mackey tonight.
I second.
Motion was made and seconded to excuse Councilmember Mackey. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is the flag salute. Where's our flag salute leader? Violet Morrison. There you are. Will you lead us in the flag salute, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next item is public comment.
Approval of minutes.
Oh, approve, we didn't approve the
I
minutes.
move we approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
Second?
Motion was made and seconded to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is additions or deletions. Councilmember Shaw.
The Public Works Committee would like to remove item number 5 from tonight's agenda. This report describes a major infrastructure improvement project by Cascade Natural Gas. And since this is the first time it has appeared on the agenda during our meeting on Tuesday, Public Works thought it would like to pull this from the agenda while Public Works staff invite Cascade Natural Gas to present at our next council meeting and describe the scope of the project they're proposing. So I move that we remove item number 5 from Public Works.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded to move item number 5 from the Public Works report. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
I don't know if I need a motion to do this, but I would recommend that we move the special agenda item tonight for the appointment to prior to the Finance Committee report.
Okay,
Do we need a motion for that? I can.
if there's no objections, seeing none, we'll move it, the special agenda items to right below item 5, public comments, which are next. Anyone from the public wants to speak on the agenda items, come up to the microphone, and you have like 3 minutes. So if you want to speak on anything that's on the agenda, including the candidates, any of that, you can come up to the podium for 3 minutes.
My name's Chris Hunt. I'm a recent citizen of Aberdeen. I moved here from Chicago about a year ago. And I came to express my support for Matthew Maurer as a candidate for Ward 4. I've known him for a very long time. He's a teacher in Mitchell School. I'm known to be a reasonable, compassionate human who is looking out for all of us. And I think Aberdeen's at an important juncture in their history, and it's important for us to take in all perspectives and be reasonable and rational about them. So thank you.
Thank you. The candidates will have an opportunity to speak separately. Is there anyone else want to speak on anything on the agenda? Or in favor of the candidates of their choice?
I'm Deborah Hodgkin from Ward 4. I had the opportunity of meeting Aunt Tara for the first time when she was running for the position. And I was just really impressed with her, you know, she went door to door, met a lot of neighbors, spent a lot of time talking to me, asking me about my concerns, and I feel like she's put a lot of work and money and effort into running for the position. And I would like to see her have the opportunity to do it, and then anyone else who's interested, you know, when the position comes open, they could, you know, run again or run against her, but I feel like she's made the effort to run for the position. And she's very, you know, concerned about Aberdeen and wanting to see good things happen for Aberdeen. So I would just like her to be considered because I think she's made the effort to run for that city council position, and she's put a lot of money and effort into running. Because it's not cheap to run, those things are not inexpensive, you know, so I think that she really cares. She shows up to council meetings. I don't know about the other candidates, if they showed up to council meetings, but she shows up to council meetings and she's been to a lot of other, you know, meetings because she really cares, you know, so I'd like to see her have the opportunity to be a part of our city council and especially since I'm in Ward 4. I really like her, she's great, you know, so anyway, that's my 2 cents. Is that all I can say, Pete? Okay.
No.
Can I add anything else, or do I have to wait till the whole end of everything to make a public comment?
If it's just an open comment, wait till the next,
Wait till the end?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I just have an idea.
Okay.
Okay, I'll do it at the end, thanks.
Josh, when the next person is speaking, would you mind going up there and wiggling that plug in? Sure. Is there anyone else that wants to speak on anything on the agenda or for a candidate?
Thomas, Ward 5. I would like to voice my concern about the appointment also, and would like to recommend Antara Roth. Antara does attend all the meetings, and she's very involved in the city. If there's events going on, she comes, she contributes, she participates. She had put a lot of money into her campaign. I know she put many dollars into signs, and she purchased them locally, which she could have done elsewhere, but she felt like it was worth doing the extra dollars to support the community. She, I would say, probably hit 90% of the wards and talked to people, introduced herself, and she's always there. If something comes up, that a gathering's going on, some information going on, she's always there to open and receive and to volunteer and to do stuff. And I do believe that she has put a lot of effort into this, and she came very close into winning the seat. And I kind of feel like the last speaker said that she's earned her right for at least being here and showing up. And there will be an election coming up, and people can go forward, but I think right now she has really worked towards this, and she was accepted by a large amount of the community. I would like to see her do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Okay. Let me check this out. Time out.
How many staff does it take?
Very surreptitious there.
Well, when Josh touched that plug, it made a noise, so I'm thinking it's right there.
Just the next plug in?
Yeah, I think there's, I can't find where the power cord is.
Maybe they could speak from this one.
That's a nice
I was gonna say that.
one. Now we're going in on that.
We have a consensus. We'll let him speak from this one.
You're on down.
Put it in the speaker view.
Cameras are working, just have to test it.
The plug-in is on, but there's no, where's the power cord for that?
We'll have to test how the C works at the same time. Use that mic.
Could they just sit at this location right here to speak?
Yeah, could they just, if you wanted to just.
Test that mic really quick.
When you're online, that picks everything up, and it's the people in the audience that might not hear.
Test.
Or those, one of those.
We're not on. Oh,
Because you have control.
complete.
Thank you for your patience. It's frustrating when something like that happens. So the next item is the special agenda items. And would Council President Cashman, did you have comments on the rules?
Yeah, I can run through everything and the appointment process. So we had 3 individuals express letters of interest for the Ward 4 council seat. Those people being Antara Croft, Stan Sedor, and Matt Mauer. They did submit their letters of interest in advance of the deadline. The mayor and council members have been provided the applications of all interested individuals in advance of this meeting, and the city staff has validated that each individual is eligible to hold office for the seat. We have received several letters of interest in support of all of the candidates. The mayor has forwarded each letter that was addressed only to him to council members for consideration. And it's really nice to hear so much from the community about who they want to see represent them in this position. So some of the rules for the appointment process, each person will have the floor for 5 minutes. We'll just come up in the order that I said their names, which I guess is also the order that they submitted their letters of interest back to the city. So in those 5 minutes, they can cover their background, their interest in the position, what they believe they're going to bring to the council. Please refrain from any kind of campaigning or comments and responses from the other applicants as well. After that, each council member can ask a question of each of the applicants, just like a professional interview. Please ask the same question of each candidate, and council members will have the opportunity to, or council members have had the opportunity to contact applicants prior to the meeting with in-depth questions. I understand some council members have. At the end of the Q&A, if needed, council can have a discussion regarding the applicants, and we will ask Deputy Clerk Anderson to take a roll call. And during that roll call, you'll state the name of the individual that you want to be appointed to the seat. And we need a majority of council members to select one individual in order for them to accept the seat.
To take the seat.
So we might have to take an additional roll call if it's down to 2 people to get that majority. I recognize that we have 10 council members tonight, so if it's a 5-5, Mayor Shave will be casting the tiebreaker vote in accordance with our standard council rules. And I'm sure you're looking forward to that if that arises. Yes. And once selected, we do have our county auditor here tonight. Then he will swear them in immediately, and they'll be able to take their seat next to Councilmember Ross. Did they cover everything?
You sounded good to
Got the
me.
notes down?
Any questions or concerns from anyone? Good. So Antara Croft, you're first on the list. Would you like to either go to the podium, or in this case, if you would prefer, you could come to a working microphone? Okay, it's your choice. you have your timer set for
Hi
5?
there, my name is Yantara Croft. Is it working? No.
No.
Very loud so the audience can hear you, and you have 5 minutes.
So, yep, my name is Yantara Croft, and I'm here to apply for Ward 4, Position 7. And I did campaign for this position last fall and summer. And I did come behind Marissa Obi by 48 points out of 793. So it is the largest ward in Aberdeen. And I did learn a lot about the residents and their concerns for our neighborhood and for the town. And I've lived in Aberdeen for 8 years, and I did like the small town feel and the fact that it does have a lot of potential and a beautiful setting. And I like the vibe and the history of Aberdeen. And I think that's what makes it attractive to the residents too. And I think it has a lot more potential to attract business and other visitors and professionals, tradesmen, and laborers, and we want it to be a fun place for children as well. So I think we need this economic diversity in order to thrive. And I think I would bring a fresh view to the city council because I do think outside the box. And I've worked for private and public business sectors and 2 different state governments. And I have had my own business with a brick and mortar storefront. I even went back to school and re-skilled. So I know there's different ways of approaching things, and especially the public sector versus the private. And I realize after coming to these meetings that we do need to collaborate and work together and find a common ground. And I know that we all want to do what's best for Aberdeen and its future. And I don't need personal power. I work for the good of the people. And that's like my job that I do now in physical therapy, home health. I help people to heal and get healthy and get fit. And that's like what I want to do for our town. I want it to thrive, and I want people to be happy and businesses to thrive here also. And it should be beautiful and prosperous. And again, I appreciate every time I drive down or walk down downtown Aberdeen, the bloom ladies and all the flowers that they bring. I think they share a lot of beauty for our town. So I would contribute to the Team Aberdeen City Council, and collaborate for the benefit of the town in order for it to thrive and prosper. And I can bring people together. And I'm pretty good at marketing, which I was known for in my business before, which I started a triathlon, and I had to recruit all the volunteers too. And that's still going on today for over 10 years. And not that I'm not working there still, but it's lasting. So I am a good marketer that way. And I would be all in just for being part of the team that our town can look up to. And so I know that we can't please everybody all the time, but I'll put my best effort in to do that. And in closing, I just want to say that I have been coming to all the meetings, and I'm up to date on the issues that we've been talking about. And almost half of the Ward 4 did vote for me. So I ask for your vote for me to be a council member alongside Councilmember Ross for Ward 4, Position 7. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you.
Do questions now?
If there's any questions, let's do them now. One question per council member. Councilmember Ellis.
Tara, thank you so much for putting your name in the hat and for submitting an impressive resume and cover letter. My question is, please tell us 3 priorities that you have for enacting as a council member, and 3 ways that you envision you can make each of those happen. Thank you.
Well, priority wise, I think number one is to understand more of what's going on in the whole town. I'd like to take time off and just get to know the different departments, and especially the Department of Finance and what our budget is. I think the budget is a big issue, especially in these hard times right now. So that would be a priority for me to just learn more about how all of the pieces of Aberdeen fit together, all the different departments. And secondly, I think just the whole homeless issue, I'd like to contribute any way I can there and help to get other people in the community involved, and possibly to collaborate with other community stakeholders with what we'd agree who would be stakeholders for the community that could offer suggestions and more assistance in not only helping the homeless, but also how we can make the town prosper. And another priority I would have is the Greater Grace Harbor. And I love what they can do for our town, and they've helped small business, and we're in a difficult time right now, and it's kind of like a holding position. But I'd really like to work with them and be on the board and see what type of marketing I can help with the town to just bring more business in and to create a uniqueness and just make Aberdeen stand out more of why we are a special place along the mouth of the river here, that it is a beautiful setting, and really capitalize on the beauty around us.
Okay, thank you. Any other council members? Seeing none, thank you very much. The next candidate is Stan Cedar. I should know better.
Remember the signs?
What's that?
The signs aren't supposed to be in council chambers.
Well, good evening. My name is Stan Cedar. I appreciate you considering me to fill the vacant Ward 4, Position 7 seat on the City Council. It feels so very good to be back home to Aberdeen. I love Aberdeen. There's so much that is good about the city, and it has so much to offer, but there's also a lot that needs to be done yet. You've been provided with a summary of my personal background along with my professional resume. I'm not going to spend time reviewing my personal background again unless you got questions about that. But I think it's important to focus on my professional training and experience, which I think would prove invaluable to the city. The training and requirements to be a successful commercial real estate appraiser has instilled in me the ability to seek out and consider all pertinent facts and provide an unbiased approach to solving problems. The experience of my background should prove invaluable to the city in considering not only general business issues, but also real estate related issues, along with general problem solving. During my nearly 40 years in business, work has taken me to numerous communities all throughout this state and also throughout the Western United States. My travels and work have provided me with the opportunity to see and assess the good, the bad, and the ugly of many communities, along with an understanding of how investors assess and are influenced by their perceptions of various aspects of those communities. As a council member, I would share my experiences with others so that together we may set the policies and goals and provide the resources for city staff and citizens to efficiently go about the work of making the city a place where we all want to live, work, and enjoy life. While creating a better city is hard work, others have done it in other communities, and so can we. As a member of the City Council, my priorities would be to focus on key city government functions and responsibilities, including public safety, which includes police and fire, and in particular addressing the issue of homelessness and crime, public infrastructure, streets and utilities, and I'm so glad that the city may soon benefit from the levee project. That's really important. And the third is really critical, and that's economic development, along with responsible business practices, including city finances and budgeting, with a particular emphasis on making downtown Aberdeen a vibrant, clean, safe, and thriving core that benefits, enhances the city, its image, and encourages more small businesses to open in Aberdeen. On a final note, I just wanted to say that as a commercial real estate appraiser, I am held to very high ethical standards. And I'm keenly aware of avoiding any actual or perceived conflicts of interest and recusing myself in matters where any conflict of interest may exist. I respectfully request your support for selection to the City Council. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Does the council have any questions? Councilmember Ellis.
I'll just restate my question to give you an opportunity to flesh out any of your top 3 priorities for being on City Council and how you would go about achieving them.
Well, as I had noted, just as I spoke, my top 3 priorities are public safety, public infrastructure, and economic development. And I think that my background provides me a great resource and opportunity to deal in particular with the final, the economic development, along with city budgeting and financing. As a commercial appraiser, I know what creates value in real estate. And we've got a lot of downtown properties in particular where I think my position and background and experience will be able to help work with and negotiate with property owners, talk to them, discuss with them, maybe provide some ideas of what other communities and property owners have done where there have been buildings that were vacant or needed some facelifts or other things to help them attract businesses. So my real estate background and appraisal valuation background will be really critical for that. I also have a lot of background in budgeting and financing, all the days from when I was student body vice president at the University of Washington. I was the vice president for finance and worked on the student budget. And that was about a $5 million budget and handled that as a student. I also was in banking for 13 years. And also as a real estate appraiser, I know how to look at profit and loss statements, I know how to look at balance sheets, and I know how to dig into and get behind and under the numbers. What really drives some of the numbers, and what are the trends, and what can we do to keep trends positive? And generally, I think it's just a matter of bringing a large, substantial amount of business experience to work with business owners in the community to find out, and all citizens in the community, to see what it is that they want and need for the community and what we can do together to make those goals achieved and realized.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Matthew Maurer.
Thank you for having me here today, City Council. Stan, I put my support behind you. That was fantastic, but I still want to come up here and say my piece. I have been here on the harbor my entire life. I have grown up in the forestry industry, worked in the fishing industry, ran my own business, Precision Hydro Seeding Incorporated, for about 12 years, and have worked in education for the last 15. I've been employed out at Wichita Valley School District the entire time as a science teacher out there, and I work at the college educating our next generation students in the K-8 program. My interest in being on the city council, well, I really didn't have an interest to be on the city council. I am here because I was encouraged that we need people that are qualified and capable to be up here. And I rose to that call. I'm not particularly fond of the idea of public office because of all the negativity that can come along with it, but I want to see my community succeed, and I have the skills to assist with that. I have been on councils for religious communities, the educational facilities I work with, the corporation that I own. And I have experiences working with people, finances, employees, interagency operations, all sorts of things that would assist me in doing my job here as a city council member. I also have a very high value in community service and providing for my community. It has driven me in most of the fields that I work in, and is why I am still in education. It's the greatest feeling to be assistant to somebody in their growth and see that throughout their lives. And I've been leveraging that by working at the college with the next generation of students. I also participate in community activity to try to build community resiliency and dialogue, particularly in low-income areas, there's a lack of resources, and community is a huge resource, and when people start recognizing that they can work together, then sometimes they need less money to get by and can get a leg up and succeed in endeavors in life that they couldn't otherwise succeed. So community service is a very high priority for me, and I want to bring that to the table here if the council decides that I'm the best at the job. I also have a style of problem solving that is kind of unique. I recognize personally that when I am a member of the council, my biases and opinions are at the door. I come in this kind of job to work for the interests of the people that I represent and to problem solve with the best available information provided by professionals in the field. So if I'm trying to make assist in a decision regarding a construction project, I want the best engineers' information and construction officials' information. I don't want to rely upon myself. So I very much respect the professionalism of others and want to employ that in that position. I have been in so many different fields. I mentioned business, education. I probably haven't mentioned real estate and other properties that I invest time and money in to bring them up to be a nice rentable product to the public. And all of these fields give me enough to know that I do need to consult others to get the job done. That's really all I have to say to introduce myself to you. And if you have any questions, please feel free.
Any questions? Councilmember Ellis?
Thank you so much for stepping up, putting your name in the hat. You're absolutely right. Government service is really hard, and it's not always a bed of roses. But I'm going to ask you the same question. What would be your 3 priorities as a council member? And if you could talk about how you would achieve those, that would be really helpful. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to be really frank in that I have not attended a lot of city council meetings like a lot of folks maybe have, and that I don't have a real strong vision for our community. I have relied upon those that have represented me to do that job for me. I do know that we have a challenge with, shall we say, we call it the homeless problem, but we really have a lot of people that are just out of resources and are having a really hard time in life. I know that's a challenge. I have my own opinions and biases, but I would come to the table setting those aside to try and solve that problem in the most effective way that we can for our community. I know that we have economic challenges in this community that began when I was working in the mountains. The spotted owl became a thing, and granted, it would have happened 10 years later regardless, but the logging industry just slowed down to a crawl. And that was the real bread and butter of this community, and we've since then struggled to have an economic base to drive this community back to the condition that many of us remember. And I would be happy to be a part of that. I don't have all the solutions, and I don't know exactly how I would go about making that to happen. It's going to take the entire body of the city council and the input of professionals in the process to try and figure that out. But I'm happy to be part of the process.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, thank you very much. Now, council members, the clerk will have a roll call vote, and
Do we want to do a moment of discussion? I don't know.
I don't want to hear any campaigning.
We know the rules.
Is there any council members have anything to discuss on the process, or the council member Ellis?
I'm not gonna miss an opportunity. Again, I just want to reiterate that it's really fabulous. We've got 3 candidates for this opening. Before, we've had 1 or 2. To have 3 people step up to this civil service, public service is, that's what makes democracy work. So again, thank you all very much. And whomever is appointed, I'm sure will bring a lot to our work. And for the other 2, I would encourage you to, you've made this first step, let it be that first step of your journey to continue making our city a better place. Whether it's on city council or in your other roles as the private sector, wherever.
Okay, thank you. Well said. Candidates, thank you for making this effort, and good luck. City clerk, would you take a roll call vote, and council members respond with your choice?
Ellis,
Mr. Seaver.
Francie,
Mauer.
Gaken,
Antara Croft.
Catchman,
Seedor.
Lawrence,
And Tara.
Mackey, Morrison,
Croft.
Piercini,
And Tara.
Ross,
Cedar.
Shaw,
Cedar.
Taylor.
Croft.
That's 5 to 4 to 1. Mr. Mayor, Croft has it.
Okay, so we're gonna have to take a second vote in order to try to get a majority. So at this point, Matthew Mauer, thank you very much. You came in third, but you scored 100. So thank you for putting in your application. So now we'll vote, council members will vote for Antara Croft or Stan Seedor. And I'm sorry, sir. And the city clerk, would you have a roll call vote?
Ellis,
Mr. Seedor.
Francie,
Cedar.
Gaken,
Croft.
Catchman,
Cedar.
Lawrence,
And Tara.
Morrison,
Croft.
Piercini,
And Tara.
Ross,
Cedar.
Shaw,
Cedar.
Taylor,
Croft.
5-5, Mr. Mayor.
Council members will vote again. My vote is for, I was not prepared for this.
We warned you this may happen.
My vote is for Stan Cedar.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Cedar, would you come up? And we have the county auditor, Joe McLean, here to swear you in. Well, the podium don't work, so wherever.
Okay, well, we can just do it
Right,
right there.
that's perfect.
All right. Okay, so if you could raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Stan Cedar,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Washington,
and the Constitution of the State of Washington,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
perform and discharge the duties of the office of.
Can you repeat that again?
Perform and discharge the duties of
And perform and discharge the duties of
the office of
the office of
Aberdeen City Council, Ward 4, Position 7,
Aberdeen City Council, Ward 4, Position 7,
according to law, to the best of my ability.
according to law, to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
If I could get you
Thank you
to,
very much.
if I could get you to sign right there.
Yeah, dressed us all.
It's only taken me 47 years to get here.
I will take this back to the office, record it, and it will be online tomorrow afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Yep,
Thank you, Joe.
you're welcome.
Okay, Mr. Cedar, you can, you are fully sworn in. You can vote on the agenda. A lot of brand-new council members, when they sit down like you just did, they abstain, and that's your choice. There's no, you're allowed to vote, so. We're moving on to the next item, which is Finance Committee. Finance Committee Chair report from Councilmember Ellis.
Thank you, Mayor. The Finance Committee meeting scheduled for this evening was canceled, but as the chair of the Finance Committee, I have a short report to make. Council has a capital budget to analyze and prioritize with a long list of worthy projects and a shortage of funds to do everything. Next week, we will be having a workshop on the 21st to hear more about departmental capital priorities, and this will be a time for questions and discussion amongst ourselves. Department heads have offered to field questions at any time, and they will be briefing us during the workshop. The more preparation we can do before the meeting, the more time we can have to discuss the nitty-gritty of what to fund and how. Ultimately, it will be a conversation among council members that gets us closer to an adopted budget. Good questions and thoughtful discussion will show our community we are working together to responsibly prepare to move Aberdeen forward into 2023 and beyond. And now I move that we adopt the expenditures, approve the expenditures.
I second it.
Motion was made, seconded to approve the payroll and expenditures. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Just kidding.
Roll call.
It's a roll call. Got me all thrown off here. It's a roll call vote.
They were all behind you too. A motion to approve accounts payable in the total amount of $2,205,220.67 and payroll in the total amount of $833,023.97. Check numbers 25570 through 25596, 78677 through 78929, and wires 1382 through 1396. Ellis?
Aye.
Francie?
Aye.
Gaken?
Yes.
Yes.
Lawrence?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Fairchieni?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Shaw?
Yes.
Zedor?
Abstain.
Taylor?
Yes.
Thank you.
And that's it for the Finance Committee.
Thank you very much. Public Works Committee Chair report.
Thank you, Mayor. Public Works met yesterday, and there was, I think, most of us were at the roundabout opening today, which was a lot of fun. I'm in my second term, and that project was started in the first year of my first term, so it was really fun to see us stick with it and get it to open. So we'll move it on to reports of communications. We have a report from Public Works and the Public Works Director recommending that the mayor be authorized to sign an equipment purchase contract with Rocky Mountain Valves and Automation for the described equipment and a fee in the amount of $69,708.34 plus 9.08% sales tax. I move we adopt this report.
Second?
Motion was made and seconded to adopt this report. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries.
Thank you. The second item from the Public Works Committee is a report recommending that the Public Works Director be authorized to sign the detour agreement with Washington State Department of Transportation. I move we adopt this report.
Second?
Motion was made and seconded to adopt this report. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. The report is adopted.
Item number 3 is a report from Public Works and the Public Works Director recommending that the mayor be authorized to sign a task order with Gray and Osborne Incorporated for the described scope of work, providing the engineering design for the critical wastewater treatment plant improvements project for an amount not to exceed $616,000. I move we adopt this report.
Second?
Motion was made and seconded to adopt this report. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. The report is adopted.
Item 4, report from Public Works and the Public Works Director recommending that the mayor be authorized to sign a task order with Gray and Osborne Incorporated for the described scope of work, providing engineering support for an inflow and infiltration identification and mitigation plan for an amount not to exceed $74,900. I move we adopt this report.
Second?
Motion was made and seconded to adopt this report. Any discussion?
I'd just like to, this report actually has fascinated me for quite a long time. Council might know that we have reported occasionally that, we have storm water during heavy rainfall events that gets into our wastewater treatment plant. And we've reached the tipping point a couple of times where we've almost lost our wastewater treatment plant. There's so much storm water getting into the system that has to be processed. And we're not talking about this 74, but the staff has done everything they can to figure out where and how the water's getting in. But we're talking about a wastewater treatment plant that processes about less than 2 million gallons of wastewater a day, but during a storm event, that can jump to 20 million gallons, and we need to get it under control, and that's what this report will bring in some experts to help us figure out how to manage these, and that'll help keep our costs down as we continue to plan for improvements in our wastewater treatment plant. I'm just fascinated by the millions of gallons of water that can flow through our community in the space of a short storm. So anyway, I hope we adopt this report.
Second.
Thank you. Motion was made, seconded to adopt this report. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And you may recall that item number 5 was removed from the agenda, and we look forward to hearing more about this really important infrastructure project by Cascade Natural Gas. That's all from Public Works.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee Chair report.
Thank you, Mayor Shea. Public Safety met this evening at 6:30, and I'll quickly read the reports, and then we do have one agenda item. So from the Aberdeen Police Department, we do have a supplemental budget request for acquisition of 27 Model 7 tasers to replace the current ones that they're using. And that cost is $121,811.02. And I'll go ahead and say now, the tasers they're currently using are from 2016, and they basically have a 5-year life, and then they become not very effective. And so it's time to replace those, and the new ones are they've upgraded them quite a bit, and they're going to be a lot better and less expensive in the long run for the department. So when we get to that report, I'm hoping you'll support it. On the police personnel, they are still working on bringing their numbers up. They have been able to offer a lateral position to a candidate from Idaho, and they're working on the investigation, the background investigation. They have still have 3 openings, anticipating 3 more retirements before the end of the year. So they offered a testing for entry-level officers, and they're moving them on to the next step. So hopefully, slowly but surely, we're going to get the police department fully staffed. The activity report for August was 95 calls per day, which is still high. They continue to be very, very busy. The Washington Association of Sheriffs and Police Chiefs have completed the proof and policy review for accreditation, and the in-person site survey was completed yesterday, and they did pass that. So they're well on their way to getting that accreditation they've been working on for a few years now. And the Aberdeen VIPs contributed 185.5 hours during August. They're a very valued part of our police department, and we appreciate them very, very much. From the fire department, I have a report from Assistant Chief Goldie. He wasn't able to attend tonight, but the call statistics for the month of August were 514 calls, which again continues to be high for the department. The Cosmopolis Fire Department calls for the month of August were 18. The fire service specialist for August did 71 home visits and installed 13 smoke alarms. And, and then it says they also installed 47 smoke alarms. The public service assists from the other department was 9 public service assists for referrals, 5 from the Olympic area for aging referrals, and 5 caseworker contacted to coordinate care. And both departments are looking forward to the Badge and Brews at the Starbucks on East Wishkah. This will be held next Thursday, September 22nd, beginning at 6 p.m. till about 8, and it's an opportunity to come out and meet the fire personnel, Aberdeen personnel, and personnel from the Grays Harbor Sheriff Department, and just a chance to get together and chat and get to meet them. So it's a great event. I've gone in the past, and it's worth attending. So now for the item on the agenda this evening, we have a report from Public Safety and the Interim Chief of Police recommending the Police Department be authorized to purchase 27 TASER 7 conductive energy devices at a cost not to exceed $121,811.02. I move we adopt this report.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded to adopt this report. Is there any discussion?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Is the life of these tasers better than 5 years on the prior tasers?
Typically taser will consider these electronics worn out after 5 years. So
every model previous to this has been a 5-year period. It's pretty consistent in the industry. Our body armor is in the same manner. Generally, they say 5 years.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'll just add really quick that even though this wasn't a budgeted item, there is money in the police department budget to cover the cost, so it won't come out of the general fund.
Public Safety Chair Ross, the report is approving the total cost of this, but we're not paying the total cost right now.
Is that, I
We're-
thought that
we're
your
making
finance
payments on
director, no, well,
No, we have the ability to take this out of our budget. So the estimate that Axon had provided to us, the total amount was if we had paid over the course of 5 years. So with the money being in the budget, we had requested it be taken out now. So we do not have to continue to put the $24,000 in the budget for the next 5 years.
Oh,
that was recommended by the finance director.
okay, that's good to know. Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
That's it for public safety, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to public comments. Any public comments on any items, anything?
I'm April Obi, fourth ward. I'm gonna do something that I rarely do and not talk about homeless. I'm wearing a thing that has a loggers on it. What hasn't been mentioned today is Weyerhaeuser is on strike. My husband called me yesterday and said, I need you to do what you do best, and we all know what I do best. I contact media, I contact the newspapers. My husband has been working for Weyerhaeuser for 30 years. 30 years. Weyerhaeuser has, this industry, this town is built on Weyerhaeuser. We have men and women on the picket lines. For the last 2 days, I have been traveling from Aberdeen to Longview, taking pictures of the strikes. The guys and the women on strike. They're not making a paycheck. They're on the strike, they're on the picket line. We have men and women that have kids that have special needs. We have mortgages. We have car payments. We have basic bills, water, sewer, garbage, cable, cell phones.
Is that 3 minutes?
We had a very nice letter from the Longview mayor supporting the strike, the workers that are striking. And I'm hoping that this town and the mayor support the woodworkers and men and women that are on strike. This is the second day of the strike. And again, this used to be a huge logging industry. You have a statue right in front when you enter Aberdeen of a man climbing a tree, cutting it down. So I hope people stand with the people that are on strike. They want fair wages, they want fair medical, and a fair retirement. And for the Longview mayor to stand up and say, I support you, took a lot of courage for him. A lot of courage. So that wasn't mentioned by anybody today, except for one person. And we have to stand by people that are on strike, especially a logging industry that is part of this town. So when you see the people on the strike lines, give them a honk, drop off some coffee, drop off some donuts.
10 seconds.
It's cold, it's starting to rain, and they need a little love from their community.
Thank you. Anyone else want to come up and?
Since I'm here,
Sure.
I shared this with Mayor Ben Winkleman yesterday and then with the county commissioners. I have a bill going in the legislature this year that will help the city. It's to help get rid of abandoned vehicles in a timely fashion. Currently, it takes 15 days to go through the process. Washington State Patrol can tag something and it's gone in hours. And as an outdoorsman, I watched the forest get destroyed by now just RVs, cars, now they're putting boats out there. And the biggest one that really hit me was up here on the Wishcott at the Firefish Wildlife Boat Launch, where some criminals were living in a home and they finally decided they better get out of there, so they took all their stuff, stuffed it in that gentleman's vehicle, towed it down to the boat launch, and left it. The Department of Fish and Wildlife Enforcement went there, got the evidence, started the process. The criminals knew they were gonna get caught, so in the night, they pushed the truck into the river. If Department of Fish and Wildlife had the power that Washington State Patrol does, they could have tagged that, not been put it in gone. So the bill I'm introducing is to give all agencies, cities, private people the same powers Washington State Patrol has. I've talked to legislators across the state, they all agree there's no reason why everybody can't have that same power. So when we get a bill number, we'll let you know what it is, and we can get this done.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'm Erin Donato. I live in Ward 4 and I own Inspire Advisors and Certified Public Accountants in downtown Aberdeen. And we're here to invite everybody to pray for this event we're doing called Pray for Your City on September 28th. And it's just an event that a group of us business owners and citizens decided that we need to have a little event where we could pray for things that are going on in our community. So it's going to be downtown at the end of the month, and the others on our committee talk about it too.
At 7:30 a.m.
Early.
Business owners.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 7:30 to 8 a.m. And we love the community, we love Praise Harbor, Aberdeen, and we just want to combat a lot of the negativity with something positive. So we believe in the power of prayer. We welcome you to come and join us. And we'll have coffee and donuts as well, donated by local businesses.
The city of Aberdeen's been wonderful to us. This, citizens of the city been good to us, we're business owners, and we want to give back by supporting an event that will provide. That's our hope is to help provide hope and encourage the faith of our community, this community. So it's Wednesday, September 28th, 7:30 a.m. and it's in the large vacant lot across from Lou's Restaurant.
I love Aberdeen. I'm a retired owner, catering business here for 30 years, and we've helped fed most of this room.
There's your
we love
answer.
Aberdeen. We want to give back to it, and I just know that the power of prayer is one way to do it. It's right, so many. God has some answers that we haven't had. So as a community, we really want the business community to come out. So we invite the business community to do this.
So yeah, just to say again, it's September 28th, 7:30 a.m. on Heron and G Streets at the Olympic Candy Company lot. And we have donuts, we have coffee, and it's not church sponsored, it's just a group of us citizens and business owners that decided that maybe we should do something, and this is what we thought would be the best thing to do, to pray for our city, because we believe God cares about Aberdeen, and we just think that coming together and praying is the best thing we can do. So there's going to be music, there's going to be Bill Brown's doing music, and we have a few people that'll pray, and it should be just a great event that's positive, and hope lots of people come out. We have an event on Facebook that you can look at, and other social media, and we've already got over 100 people saying they're coming, they're interested in that event, so go check out some videos. Rick Moyer's been doing our videos and all our social media for us, so it looks pretty great. And I have a big stack of invitations here if anybody would like one to pass out or just take for yourself. Buy me afterwards.
Okay, thank you.
Well, my name is Adam Ziegler. I'm a resident of Work. We own a home on First Avenue, just above Sam Bend Park, directly above Sam Bend Park, on the side of it. And when we moved here in 2018, the park was a big part of what enticed us to purchase the property. Between the two of us, my wife and I have 5 sons, all of whom actively use the park. For the entire time that we've been there, we have had a grove directly across from our home that has, because of the way that it's been maintained by the city, become an attractive nuisance. It is overgrown and has, in the past couple of years, and to my understanding, historically also attracted people sleeping overnight, people using drugs during the daytime. Recently there was a suicide, someone hung themselves essentially across the street from our house in the park. Our children were playing at the park at the time that that was discovered. We have had both minor and significant property crime against us since we have taken occupancy. I can't count the amounts of times that the kids have come and got me and said somebody's acting crazy in the park. At times I've gone and had to ask someone to leave, multiple times called police. There is now beginnings of, I don't know if I would call it an encampment, but it's you can lay down sleeping rolls, there are needles, there's garbage of all kinds, there's human waste, there's rats. So the solution that I see to this is to ask the city to come in to do a substantial thinning of that area, to limb the trees up significantly, to clear out the underbrush, to clear out the refuse. At this point, I've cleared it out several times. At this point, it's a hazmat situation. I think that if the city doesn't act on this, it really is, it's an attractive nuisance, and it's going to come a time when someone stashes a kid, playing in a park, drags them in there. The visibility is so poor that no one would know.
1 second.
So I would just ask the city to please take action on this.
So, in the back of the room is the Parks Director and Community Development Director. If you could speak with them for just a moment and give them some information on this. Parks Director oversees trees in the city, and the Community Development Director oversees the code enforcement. That'd be a good place to start, at least give your information, and we can take a look at what the problem is and see what we can do to solve it. So, thank you.
Well, I'll be the first to welcome you, Stan, from
Thank you.
Fourth Ward. I do love Anaterra, but I'll try and love you too, you know? You may be sorry in the end, I may be a thorn in your side. What I wanted to talk about, what I wanted to mention earlier, and I made it at the end for, this is the time to do it. We have a lot of people that support, that get funds to support the homeless community in Aberdeen. And I had a business downtown. I was right across the street from the Aberdeen Library. Now we're up on Broadway a little bit, so we're not quite in the heat of things that are downtown. But I've talked to all the businesses downtown, and everyone struggles downtown. I know that Emmerich has bought a lot of property. He's mentioned that he has a hard time renting his property because there is such a problem. I don't think there's anybody that doesn't drive through downtown Aberdeen and kind of feel sad when they see somebody laying in a doorway with a blanket or some sort of a sleeping bag. Whether it just makes you sick to your heart because you're sad because they're there, or whether it makes you mad because it makes the town look like a homeless camp, it doesn't really matter. I think everybody feels equally just really distressed. And so it has been a real huge issue for anybody who has a business downtown. So what I had wanted to see happen, and maybe this is something, Stan, that you could work on, is, go to CAP and these, the More Right group, and ask them to provide a day room where people have somewhere to go. So when the people are driving around, anybody, any neighbor could do it, but the police especially could go and say, hey, there's a place for you to be. You don't have to lay on Wishkah in a doorway of an empty building. And we're getting a lot of empty buildings in Aberdeen. Aberdeen's really changed in the 10 years we've been here. It's kind of sadly gone downhill. And we're at a lot of the property, and I would love to see wonderful things happen for Aberdeen. But I think as long as we have this continued problem with no solution, we've had a lot of people in the council for a long time, but there's never been a solution for this daily problem, 365 days a year, that exists in Aberdeen, where people need somewhere to go, somewhere to be if they are homeless, where they aren't sleeping and living in the downtown area. And I would think that that would be a solution that CAP would want to come up with. They've got a big building, it should be something that these groups and businesses are working on to provide that. So this is not a huge pressure for the businesses. We dealt with mentally ill people every day. We dealt with all of the problems that go along with the homeless in the downtown area that cause problems for your business. And I know everybody continues to deal with that. And there is a solution. There's lots of solutions, but we need to put our heads together and come up with that solution. So you'll be hearing, from me. And I, hopefully we bring lots of great things to the council, because we haven't come up with anything, because it's been an ongoing thing for the 10 years we've been downtown.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Steve, Ward 4, welcome aboard. I'm sure we'll be talking. Here's a solution. I saw today a gentleman about a block away from where they pass out needles shooting up. I have a picture of it if you'd like to see it. Not a very lovely sight. We've been passing out needles in Aberdeen for 18 plus years. I was just lied to before the meeting started, and that person told me there's nothing the city can do about it. It's the health department. Well, they don't pass out needles anymore. Anyway, let's give it a try. I'll bet you we could knock off 40% of all the problems. EMS, I was looking at my bill today. That's ridiculous. How many times did EMS go down under the bridge to help those people right after they passed out needles? Let's just try it for a year. Let's stop passing out needles in the city of Aberdeen for 1 year. And I'll bet we will see a decrease in all this garbage by at least 40%. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Alika Kendall, 4th Ward. I'm just gonna piggyback off my neighbor Adam over here. I will keep this short and we'll discuss it with the Parks Department. I do live behind Sam Van as well, and in the last month, I have picked up 10 used needles from that park, next to where the children play. By the basketball courts, where that grove is, my kids have found them, caps, they have found feces. It's not a safe place. When I moved here, I was excited because that park is beautiful. It should be a focal point to this community. It should be a safe space for our children to go play. The fact that my kids are endangered now, they can't walk 20 yards and be essentially safe anymore. I hate calling the non-emergency line multiple times a month, but I want them to be aware of the people. My kids have been solicited by homeless people. They have been yelled at. They have been berated for no reason. They have watched 2 people overdose, and the same day the hanging was happening, my kids saw that too. They were ushered home. That's not fair. I know we are all adults and we have a lot of ahead of us, but we really need to focus on our youth. They're the ones that are going to build this community up. And the fact that they are suffering because we cannot find common ground to fix these solutions breaks my heart. Our kids mean more than political BS. We need to do more. We need to allocate funds somewhere, at least with cleaning the city up a little bit, or at least focusing on cleaning up our parks. Give them one safe space in this community for them to play, whether it's Morrison, whether it's Finch, even in Hoping, it's the same problem. Our kids deserve better. We need to come together as a community and figure this out. That's my piece. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Come on, Roy. Nothing.
I get the safer chance.
How rare. Nothing else from anyone? Okay. Oh, go ahead.
I would just like to say, after we listened to the last few comments, the condition of our city, and we've talked about this for how many years. I spent 2 years out in front of the needle exchange, protesting the needle exchange, trying to get a stop to it. We got stopped by the county in August 31st. And we had an opportunity with the city to ask it to be moved. So Pete Shea, as mayor, asked for it to be removed, and the council voted it down. They wanted to keep it. They wanted to talk about it. I have the newspaper article, printed up at home. But it seems like we talk about this all the time, we do nothing. The biggest elephant in the room in our city is the drug abuse and the crime that is going on. And everybody ignores it like it's not happening. And everybody calls each other names and everything else. When is it gonna stop? When are people going to consider this emergency #1 in the city of Aberdeen? Our children deserve more than this. They absolutely deserve more than this. And to turn around and stand around about like a bunch of grant whores waiting for government to give you a handout to take care of it isn't gonna do it, because it doesn't work, because every handout they give you has a restriction. If you use the government grant money to take care of a drug problem, you will see there are no rules. There are absolutely no rules. In fact, Mr. Green, Chief Green, Acting Chief Green, hope you get there. I told you I would bring you a copy of the rules. I will bring you the rules that are for the shelter from 2020 to 2003, and you will see there are no rules. In fact, it is even explicit that as few as rules as possible. So you're gonna have to work outside the box. You're gonna have to think, if we come together as a community, why can't we put
30
a job
seconds.
center in? Why can't we help these people out? These people need help. They don't need hands out. They don't need more food to keep them there where they're at. This town needs to be cleaned up, and we need to help the people, and we need to help our city, and most of all, we need to give our children something. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, moving on to council comment period. Anyone on the council? Seeing none. Oh, Councilmember Ellis.
Thank you, Mayor. Aberdeen is having growing pains, indigestion, and maybe suffering from periodic depression. We prize our history, puzzle over our future, and try to make the best of where we are in the moment. Aberdeen needs leadership. People who will restore downtown as a safe place to operate or frequent a business, hang out with friends, and bring kids to enjoy festivities. To reclaim downtown, Aberdeen needs a place outside of downtown where homeless people can experience safety, structure, and support for transitioning into a more positive and productive life. And while we struggle to maintain forward momentum with new stores and restaurants and freshly painted buildings, our museum collection needs permanence in its new building that will first require some work. Community nonprofits have been criticized in the past for being a magnet for the addicted and homeless. But as the new Quinault Healthcare Center demonstrated at their ribbon cutting, they are an important part of healing our community through holistic care for those in recovery. Let us work together as a full council now to make meaningful steps that demonstrate we mean business. Aberdeen can be a welcoming city, a place to enjoy a meal, shop for pump parts, pumpkins, clothes, knickknacks, art, and welcome clients and customers as a vibrant place to live, work, and play. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on the council? Seeing none, Councilmember Ross,
I move we adjourn.
do we need a second?
Second?
Thank you. Motion is made and seconded to adjourn. If there's no objection, I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you.
Yeah.